Post-training notice. National First Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 90. Great Peng. How much use was a single person's life in the grand scheme of things? Zhi Xiaoduo leaned up against the window. This was the first time that he had truly tasted death. Before, the concept of death had been very distant to him, so distant that he didn't even believe that he himself would die. But when Xiang Cheng drove the truck past the Jialing River Bridge, he couldn't resist looking at Xiang Cheng's side profile. He sensed the way death loomed over them as a final inevitability. When he first met Xiang Cheng, he kept running this way and that, and he felt as if Xiang Cheng had an endless supply of energy. Did he also have times where he felt close to death? What did that feel like to him? Would he regret that there were many things he hadn't had a chance to do? Would he regret that he had not come back to his side, where they could at least keep each other company together? Everyone said that when death was close, they would always feel regret. Zhi Xiaoduo dazedly thought that there wasn't really anything that he regretted. He had done more in this short year, almost 2 years, that he had been together with Xiang Cheng, than he had in the rest of the previous 26 years of his life. He cherished every day that they had spent together, and now that he reminisced over them, he felt that they had all been very meaningful. The only thing he worried about was, if he died, Xiang Cheng would definitely be very lonely. Pei, what wild thoughts am I thinking now? Zhi Xiaoduo roared angrily in his heart, I don't want to die yet. The car came to a stop in front of a hospital, and Xiang Cheng had Zhi Xiaoduo get out of the car. Zhi Xiaoduo asked, aren't we going to? Don't talk, Xiang Cheng replied. We'll see the doctor first. I don't want stitches. Zhi Xiaoduo wailed. Huan had already called the hospital. The doctor took a look at Zhi Xiaoduo's wounds before frowning and exclaimed, why did you only come now? Zhi Xiaoduo's sight was already a little spotty, and they immediately matched up his blood type and gave him a transfusion. Several doctors came over to give him a group consultation. It's an issue with his platelets. What's going on? Does he have hemophilia? The bleeding won't stop. There's no way for us to stitch up this kind of external wound. Let's give it a try. Zhi Xiaoduo leaned up against the hospital bed, and Xiang Cheng scooted in close to his ear. Be good. Zhi Xiaoduo was given an anesthetic shot, and in just a few minutes, he was sound asleep. When he woke up, he wasn't feeling anything from his body aside from a feeling of coolness on his chest. Lang Dog and Huang were standing guard by him. The anesthesia wore off and Zhi Xiaoduo gradually began to feel a little bit of pain. Where's Xiang Cheng? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. Big Boss went to meet up with Xian Hezi. He's gone to the Lingjiangmen Pier, Huang replied. Give him a call. Huang called Xiang Cheng's phone. Zhi Xiaoduo clambered off the bed and touched his bandage-covered chest. The wound had not stopped bleeding, and blood slowly seeped out, drop by drop. There was no way to stitch up the wound, but the hospital had used some unknown method to temporarily cut off circulation through several important arteries. They had probably injected some sort of coagulation factor. Please don't get up just yet. Huang immediately protested. How are you feeling? Much better. Zhi Xiaoduo glanced up at the blood transfusion bag. The bottom could already be seen, so Huang had the doctor come in and change out the bag. Zhi Xiaoduo took that chance to get up and change a set of clothes. Huang raced after him, saying, we have investigated the situation in Chongqing. Tell me, Zhi Xiaoduo replied. Big Boss got a call from the Exorcists. Was it Chen Zhen who called? It seemed to be another individual named Gagantoru Rakita, Huang said. Gagantoru Rakita said that the Exorcist Committee, based on previous reports, came to the conclusion that it is very likely the golden arrows are on Mount Wu. For the sake of finding the golden arrows, Jianwen arrested Xian Hezi's Shishu, Bai Sui, to force him to divine the whereabouts of the golden arrows. Zhi Ziaduo immediately understood, and he stopped in his movements. Huang Shan said, "Big boss wants you to rest in the hospital and wait for him to return." Zhi Ziaduo asked, "Did Beijing also send people?" Huang Shan said, "Jian Wen first sealed any land routes that led to Fengdu, before he sent a letter to Beijing. Beijing then sent out personnel transfer orders, telling the exorcists based in Chongqing to assist in finding the golden arrows." "What are they looking for the golden arrows for?" Zhi Ziaduo asked. "Are they going to such great lengths simply to lure Xiang Cheng out of hiding?" Huang Shan said in reply, "The goals of the Beijing Exorcist Committee and the National Security Bureau are aligned. They want to find the golden arrows, no matter the cost. The Exorcist Committee, in comparison, has not paid much attention to you. They simply sent out an arrest warrant in conjunction." Zhi Ziaduo dashed out of the hospital. Lang Dog was just coming in with dinner in hand, and he almost crashed into Zhi Ziaduo. "Take me to the river," Zhi Ziaduo said. "Woof. Food." Lang Dog said. "I'm already better now." Zhi Ziaduo protested. His head spun, and he dragged Lang Dog to his feet, leaning against him. "Trust me, I've already gotten a blood transfusion." Lang Dog replied, "No way. He told you to stay in the hospital and wait." Zhi Ziaduo grabbed Lang Dog's clothes and said to him, "Xiang Cheng is in great danger. Take me to find him. Quickly." Huang Shan raced along behind. After a brief moment of hesitation, Lang Dog walked outside, and Zhi Ziaduo asked him, "Do you know how to drive?" Lang Dog thought for a moment, before he started Xiang Cheng's car. Zhi Ziaduo leaned back against the front passenger seat, breathing heavily. "You mustn't go. Let's go eat hot pot, okay?" Lang Dog offered, still hesitating. "That bird is very dangerous," Zhi Ziaduo said. "Xiang Cheng won't be able to do it on his own. Turn around." "Hey. Do you know how to drive or not?" Zhi Ziaduo helped Lang Dog shift gears, and Lang Dog asked, "Will he be able to beat it?" Zhi Ziaduo did not say anything. Outside the car windows, night had already fallen, and street lights glimmered brightly along the sides of the streets. "I'm at least certified as well," Zhi Ziaduo said breathlessly, before he reached out and flipped through his handbook. "What natural enemies does the black-winged great peng have?" Lang Dog's driving made the car swerve back and forth, and he almost crashed into another car at the intersection. He said, "But." "No more buts. Pay attention to your driving," Zhi Ziaduo said, before muttering, "That Yaoguai only eats snake guts? I have to think about this. Everything has its counter, and oftentimes, the natural enemy of one kind of bird is another kind of bird, often greater in size. The black-winged great peng is already the king of birds, so even Sigui won't be its match." Zhi Ziaduo pondered deeply for a moment, but his head kept spinning, which made it difficult for him to focus his thoughts. Blood was still seeping out of his wounds, but compared to this morning, it was already a lot better. "Huang Shan," Zhi Ziaduo said, dialing a number. "Help me out, do you have any giant pandas or pangolins among your companions?" "None among my subordinates," Huang Shan said. "There are only 10 pangolins in all of Chongqing who have developed a consciousness, while for the pandas, I'll need to make a call to the Baifeng Gorge to have them transferred over." "Do you need all of them to be transferred here?" "I only need the pangolins." "Call one whose cultivation is a bit higher over here," Zhi Ziaduo said. "Let me see, can they wait at the entrance to the drill grounds?" *******. On the Linganmen Pier, a boat reached the shore and began to offload its cargo to take on more. Xiang Cheng, Xian Hezi, and Xiao Bin got onto the boat. This was a small yacht which was going from Chongqing to Yuchang, and it would pass by the small 3 gorges along the way. Xiang Cheng glanced towards the shore. Xiao Bin stood by the ship's rail, looking out into the distance, and the boat cast off. "Shall we play cards?" Xian Hezi shuffled the cards, and Xiao Bin pulled out 3 bottles of beer and put them on the table. Xiang Cheng had a placid expression as he sat down and began to take his cards. Pay attention to the movements of our opponents. Xiang Cheng pointed at the iPad set to one side of the table. A glowing dot appeared on it, which was slowly traveling along the Changjiang. Before this, Xiang Cheng's aquatic subordinates had discovered this boat and made a mark on it. The land routes are covered in exorcists, Xiao Bin said. The waters are full of Yao and devils. They suspect that the golden arrows are right on Mount Wu, Xiang Cheng said. Now that I think about it, that is very possible. I overlooked the place where my mom awakened. Xiao Bin, what use does that arrow have? Why are they all looking for it? Xiang Cheng tossed 2 cards out, remaining silent. Xian Hezi looked at Xiao Bin and asked, Chen Zhen didn't tell you? Xiao Bin shook his head. Xiang Cheng took a call. Fenli was on the other end. What are you doing? Fenli asked. Leave Chongqing immediately. The sacred land has already sensed your whereabouts. The blood devil has sent Yao Guai out to search for you. I sensed it, Xiang Cheng said. The seal on the snake hun is currently weakening. Fenli replied, as soon as you use magic, the devil seed will resonate with Mara. I have no choice. I must find the golden arrows, Xiang Cheng said. The claws of the black-winged great peng are poisonous, and Xiaoduo won't stop bleeding. There was a short pause on Fenli's end. Xiang Cheng asked, what are that guy's origins? Fenli replied, it is one of the 5 great Yaoguai that guard the sacred land. A millennium ago, your ancestor destroyed the sacred land, and the black-winged great peng was captured and sealed under the Fumen temple. My guess is that for the sake of capturing you, they have come to an agreement with the black-winged great peng, so they released it again. Xiang Cheng, I understand. Fenli, that fellow is the natural enemy of snakes and dragons, and it is not a Yaoguai native to this region. If you are to face it, you must be very careful. Back then, when it was still in the sacred land, it would even attack Yaoguai that were on its side. Now that it's been sealed for 1,000 years, who knows what kind of twisted tendencies it has developed. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. A tall, bulky man wearing a black trench coat and black sunglasses knocked on the car window from outside. Zhi Xiaoduo thought it was an exorcist, and he was greatly startled. But when he looked at him through the dragon pupil, he saw a tall, lanky, Mo Yaoguai with a pointy mouth, who had its head lowered as it waved its head back and forth across the window. Empress, the man said, bowing with his hand to his chest. I am a pangolin, you can call me Achia. Come, get in the car, Zhi Xiaoduo said. I need you to help me out. Lights glimmered along the banks as the boat made its way downstream. After leaving Chongqing, the flow of the narrow, winding river had grown swift. Their surroundings also gradually darkened. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. On the deck of the cargo ship. I only wanted you to kill Xiang Cheng, Jianwen said darkly. Why did you touch Zhi Xiaoduo instead? To his side stood a lithe, sturdy man, who had a dark expression on his face. His left eye was bandaged, and his upper body was bare, revealing the bulge of his muscles. A large part of his arms had been burnt. He chuckled coldly but did not reply. Jianwen continued icily, do not go touching that one named Zhi Xiaoduo. If you do anything to him, we'll be in trouble. The higher-ups won't let that slide. The sturdy man grunted again, before saying, if you want to capture Xiang Cheng, you have to use that guy to coerce him. For the sake of saving him, Xiang Cheng will find us sooner or later. I'm only helping out due to certain conditions. I am not your servant. Jianwen continued, if I die or get stripped of my rank, you will be captured and brought back to be imprisoned for another 1,000 years. Do as you see fit. Jianwen turned and left, leaving the burly man standing on the deck, his expression ominous. Jianwen looked back through the corridor. The burly man was still standing at the prow, the wind blowing over him. The two Secret Service members standing guard outside the corridor let him through. Jianwen opened the door. Inside sat an old man with a white beard, wearing a cloth hat. "Teacher Bai Sui," Jianwen said. "Have you found the whereabouts of the golden arrows?" The old man who had been addressed as Bai Sui sighed and shook his head. The needle of the compass on the table did not stop turning. "I see you have already found it," Jianwen said. "There's no need to drag this out any longer." Bai Sui replied, "Why do you go to such pains? You shouldn't have come here." Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Xiang Cheng hugged the devil-subduing staff to himself, leaning up against the front of the prow, his eyes shut as he rested his mind. The night deepened, and the yacht sailed at top speed towards the lower banks of the Changjiang. Amidst the shadows of the mountains, Xiang Cheng fell asleep. "Mom will take a chunk out of your heart, so you won't. Do not fall in love with anyone. You are the son of a snake Yao." Xiang Cheng opened his eyes and sucked in a deep breath, frowning deeply. There was a billow of black qi in his body, which was currently darting left and right uncontrollably, as if it wanted to burst out of him. There was the sound of footsteps. Xian Hezi stood behind Xiang Cheng, and he slowly drew his tang sabers. "It will not be too late to attack me after I am corrupted," Xiang Cheng said coldly, his back to Xian Hezi. "Once you are corrupted, I fear it will be too late," Xian Hezi said. "The goal of the black-winged Great Peng is very obvious. It wants to incite your corruption." "Xian Hezi, put down your sabers," Chao Bin's voice said from the other end of the deck. "This is just in case," Xian Hezi said. "This way, it'll be better for everyone." "Even if you kill me, that won't be of any use," Xiang Cheng said. "My snake Han will disperse into the world." "Who sent you to carry out this task? Was it Teacher Zheng as well?" Xian Hezi did not speak. A moment later, amidst the quiet lapping of the waves, Xian Hezi replied, "Teacher Zheng is doing this for your own good." Though he said that, Xian Hezi sheathed his sabers. "Do your best, Ba," Xian Hezi sighed. "You will not have to do it," Xiang Cheng said, almost icy in his reserve. "As soon as the devil seed bursts out from me, I will get rid of it myself first." "You said so yourself," Xian Hezi said. "We will get revenge for you." Xiang Cheng said unconcernedly. The phone rang. "Boss," Huang Shan said. "Your madam is currently heading towards you. Didn't I tell you to watch him well?" Xiang Cheng said. "He wouldn't let me tell you," Huang Shan said. "You are already approaching the cargo ship. We have come to a stop in the center of the river. Should we stand by and assist you or keep the ship moving?" Zhi Xiaoduo chided. "Xiaoduo," Xiang Cheng said. On the other end, Zhi Xiaoduo said, "Don't mind us. Go do what you're supposed to, Huang Shan, speed up." Xiang Cheng glanced at the screen. Their dot was already approaching that cargo ship. "Jianwen is moving very slowly," Chao Bin said. "He's only moved this much in 3 days. He's looking for something." The three of them walked towards the stern of the boat. Their surroundings were pitch black, there were no stars in the sky, nor was the moon there. Black clouds had blocked out all of the light. "Turn off all the lights on the ship," Xiang Cheng ordered. The lights across the entire ship immediately went out, leaving behind the hum of the propeller across the water, which was even more obvious on such a still night. After they went around the first bend, a moment later, the engine also shut off. The members of the aquatic clan in the waters of the Changjiang soundlessly gathered around Xiang Cheng's boat, pushing the yacht swiftly along towards the cargo ship. "We'll strike as soon as we collide," Xiang Cheng said. "I'll take care of the black-winged Great Peng. Chao Bin, you'll delay Jianwen, and Xian Hezi will go find him." A black shadow leapt along the tall mountains along either side of the gorges. It hid itself behind the stones of the mountain, intently watching the center of the river. "Chief, someone is approaching us," his subordinate reported. "What?" Jianwen frowned. "There's no indication on the radar." Jianwen swiftly ran to the control cabin. Their surroundings were pitch black, and if he reached his hand out he would not be able to see his fingers. The burly man was still standing at the prow, his arms crossed, and the slightest sliver of an evil smirk quirking the corners of his lips up. He suddenly seemed to sense something, and he turned to look. From high up on the bank came the sound of a whistle. 3, 2, 1. Xiang Cheng had his left hand pressed against his Bluetooth earpiece, while his right held the devil-subduing staff. "Move out." Instantly, the yacht blazed with light. Jianwen ducked away from the glare of those high-intensity beams, then the yacht swiftly shot out of the water, shooting right towards the cargo ship. There was a huge boom as it crashed into the control cabin. Out in the center of the river, there was an explosion from the cargo ship. Xian Hezi and Chao Ben leaped towards the two sides of the ship, while Xiang Cheng kicked off, leaving the ship behind as he rose into the air. The black-winged great pen let out an odd cry, which traveled for hundreds of miles. With a shake of his body, a pair of wings great enough to cover the sky burst forth, and its two claws slashed down towards Xiang Cheng, who was beating a strategic retreat. In the moment that their melee weapons clashed, a brilliant light erupted forth from high up over the surface of the lake. A huge, greenish-black snake lifted its head, while the great pen, its black wings speckled with gold, swiped downwards with its claws. Xiang Cheng and that burly man's spiritual forms each took the form of huge beasts, which writhed together in combat. The great pen slashed down towards the snake's vital point, sending him down into the water. The waters of the river burst forth, and the boss snake coiled tightly around the great pen, dragging it underwater. The great pen, however, struggled mightily to free itself, and it circled in the air, black chi seeping forth from the feathers all over its body and covering almost 10 li of the river. Two beams of red light shot out of the water. The boss snake had sunk itself within the hidden currents, as if it was an evil monster buried in the darkness. There was a burst of gunfire from the cargo ship. Chao Ben spun through the air, and he turned. Jianwen charged out from the side and said coldly, "Why is it you again? Why is it always you?" Chao Ben was equally cold. "Did you not bring your full set of subordinates this time?" Chao Ben's suit jacket went flying as he kicked Jianwen. Jianwen fired on him, a bullet streaking past Chao Ben's face, drawing blood. Right after that, Chao Ben caught up to him like a shadow, and with 3 consecutive punches, he sent Jianwen's head tilting backwards, into a glass window, which then shattered. Xian Hezi raced along the cargo ship's stairs down towards the next deck. He pushed open the door, but the room was empty. "Shishu!" Xian Hezi called. The door at the end of the corridor was open, so Xian Hezi hurriedly raced that way. Suddenly, from the top of the stairs came a grenade with its pin pulled, and it clanged as it bounced down the stairs, rolling to a stop in front of Xian Hezi. Xian Hezi vaulted through the air and leapt backwards, dropping his entire body onto the ground. He spread his left hand, and a seed appeared in his palm. In the span of a short second, the seed sprouted countless tender leaves and creeping tendrils, which reached over his shoulder and curled towards that grenade. The grenade exploded. A huge explosion burst forth from one side of the cargo ship, and the entire ship exploded into 2 pieces. The body of the ship began to list, and Chao Ben and Jianwen lost their balance at the same time, sliding towards the end of the deck. Jianwen's nose was bleeding profusely, but he grabbed the gun that slid along the deck to him, pointing it at Chao Ben and pulling the trigger. Chao Ben, however, flicked his finger, sending a metal bead into the barrel of Jianwen's gun. With a huge boom, Jianwen's entire shoulder exploded into a mess of flesh and blood. Chao Ben slid in front of him, his legs wrapping around Jianwen's left arm, and he sent him flying overboard into the water. Xian Hezi! Chao Ben roared. In the half of the ship that had broken off, a green sprout peeped out. The vines left, revealing Xian Hezi's body. His left shoulder and right leg had been hit with shrapnel, and his blood ribboned off into the water. A seed sank to the mud at the bottom of the river, before countless growing plants sprouted wildly, pushing him to the surface. The ba snake suddenly burst forth from the water. The great Peng, circling above, had been waiting for this exact moment, and it swooped down. The red light from the ba snake's eyes lit up the night sky, and its body sent up a mighty wave of river water as it opened its bloody maw to let loose a roar. A beam of black snake breath shot forth, but the great Peng simply shook its feathers, not even remotely afraid, as it brought its claw down towards the snake's head. The ba snake let out a howl of pain as it writhed. The great Peng took this chance to grab the snake around its neck and drag it out of the water. But in that instant, an unimaginable thing happened. A brilliant golden light shone forth from the ba snake's body, and it suddenly vanished in midair. What replaced it was the divine image of Akalanatha clad in his armor, his body glowing with golden light as he hovered in midair. In the background, there was the sound of scriptures being chanted as countless golden symbols circled in the air. The upper half of Xiang Cheng's body was bare, and a war skirt was belted around his waist. In his left hand, he held the devil-subduing staff, while in his right was the sword of wisdom. Behind him, 4 more hands sprouted, each with another of the artifacts, but the arms that held the great sun ring and the moon eclipse bow had turned black, and that black was seeping incessantly towards his chest. The great Peng retreated backwards and flew higher into the air, but Xiang Cheng suddenly opened his eyes. One of his hands tossed the Yao binding rope out, catching one of its claws, and dragging it back to him. Then, Akalanatha raised the sword of wisdom, stabbing it towards the great Peng. The black-winged great Peng suddenly let out an odd laugh. It did not dodge, nor did it retreat. Instead, it opened its mouth and spewed an endless stream of black fog. The sword of wisdom headed straight for the great Peng's heart, and the true form of Akalanatha glowed with golden light, but the black chi from the artifacts behind it kept creeping forward. Like blood vessels appearing across his naked chest, that black chi instantly engulfed his entire body. Xiang Cheng let out a bellow of pain and anger. He could not stop trembling, but that sword also stabbed into the black-winged great Peng's chest. The golden light of Akalanatha vanished, and Xiang Cheng turned into the ba snake, writhing as it was shrouded in black chi. It darted into the river. The sword of wisdom, which protruded forth out of the black-winged great Peng's chest, was getting corrupted, but even then, the great Peng yanked the ba snake, not allowing it to enter the water before it pulled it away from the surface of the river. However, the black-winged great Peng was injured, and it flapped its wings with great difficulty. The ba snake kept struggling, causing it to wobble along shakily. It could plummet into the river at any point. Another ship came through the waves. "Hit it!" Zhi Xiaoduo shouted. The black-winged great Peng tossed the ba snake aside, doing its best to flap its wings to fly higher. The ship that came shooting at it from the left side, however, smacked right into it, and it let out a pained howl as it slammed into the cliffs that lined the banks. The ship let out a huge boom, and the prow of the ship caved inwards as it collided. The black-winged great Peng was trapped between the ship and the cliff. Right after that, Zhi Xiaoduo and Lang Dog shook out their bundles, suddenly sending out thousands of flying ants. The pangolin, its hands clasped together, pointed its hands at the sky in a sword fingers pose. It had the back pair of the struggling flying ant queen's wings pinched between its fingers, and a beam of light sent the ant queen shooting towards the black-winged great Peng. The ant swarm immediately exploded, following behind their queen as they pounced on the black-winged great Peng, squeezing into the gaps between its feathers. The black-winged great Peng let out a pained screech and flailed wildly in pain as it flew into the sky. Zhi Xiaoduo's nerves were greatly shaken, and he gasped heavily for breath. As he watched the black-winged great Peng fly away in pain, he turned to meet Lang Dog's gaze. "Where's Xiang Cheng?" Zhi Xiaotuo shouted, leaping to the prow of the boat. Xiang Cheng! Careful! Huang Shan charged towards him from the other side of the deck. The black-winged great peng flew into the sky, before it came plummeting right down towards the surface of the river. Zhi Xiaotuo looked up and let out a shout. A moment later, everyone on the ship leapt over the guard-rail, landing into the water on all sides. The black-winged great peng slammed headfirst into the ship. The pangolin leapt towards the cliff, taking Yao form again, its claws scrabbling wildly as it clambered up. Zhi Xiaotuo leapt from the pangolin's back down into the water. Xiang! Zhi Xiaotuo hadn't had a chance to lift his head and shout before a snake tail suddenly appeared and dragged him right into the depths. In the darkness, Zhi Xiaotuo saw a strong beam of red light, before the snake's tail coiled tightly around him. Above him, the ship sank, and the great peng sank into the water, trailing a stream of bubbles. Zhi Xiaotuo hugged the boss snake's tail, and the boss snake turned its head, studying Zhi Xiaotuo. It blew an air bubble that enveloped Zhi Xiaotuo, before turning its body and swimming towards the surface. It opened its maw and bit down on the black-winged great peng, dragging it to the bottom. Silt and mud surrounded every direction, and the bodies of the blood-sucking flying ants floated away from the black-winged great peng. It struggled, but the boss snake coiled around it and dragged it even deeper into the depths. Its fierce fangs stabbed into the great peng's chest. The great peng thrashed, black chi billowing forth from its body, before it finally twitched a few more times. The boss snake, in this silence, then turned its head swiftly, ripping its chest open. As Zhi Xiaotuo watched, it gulped down the black-winged great peng's heart, straightened its neck, and swallowed the heart into its gullet. After the boss snake gulped down the great peng's heart, it immediately vanished. Xiang Cheng's form emerged from the river water. He turned to wrap one arm around Zhi Xiaotuo's waist, pulling him tightly to himself, before he lowered his head to kiss him on the lips. Zhi Xiaotuo felt something pass between them. His body was icy cold, but then it began to warm up. He hugged Xiang Cheng around the neck, and the wounds on his chest and abdomen began to knit together. The black-winged great peng's body bobbed to the surface. The aquatic Yao scattered, and between the mountains, the red sun began to rise. At the same time, an off-road vehicle covered in mud splatters came speeding along the curving mountain road that followed the bank of the river. It was getting closer and closer to the cliffside, and the gas pedal was being pushed to the very floor. But in the next moment, a huge monster leapt over the crags and peaks as it darted towards them. It formed a huge mouth, and it went right for the black-winged great peng's corpse, swallowing it whole. For 10 miles along the banks, the surface of the river swiftly turned black, and the water began to ripple as if it had come to life, as if the mighty river was currently chewing up the corpse of this prehistoric Yao beast. There was another angry bellow, and the corrupted Daodi erupted out of the water. The wings of the great peng sprung forth from its back, and its claws swiped through the air as, with a turn, it shrieked loudly at the Yaoguai up on the cliff. The off-road vehicle speeding along on the winding mountain path was still almost a kilometer away. The four-wheel drive's engine was going at full horsepower as it charged towards the turn. All of the Yaoguai backed away. A strong aura burst forth from the Daodi, flattening the hundreds of aquatic Yao along the banks, before it swiped down at the Yao on the cliffside, which instantly scattered into the forests and the river. Just as the Daodi was about to turn and go into the water to seek out Xiang Cheng's whereabouts, that off-road vehicle finally arrived. It smashed through the guardrail and flew through the air, falling towards the surface of the river. The car door sprung open, and Kita's enraged bellow followed. "Fuck off!" In the blink of an eye, the car slammed headfirst into the Daodi. The grey wolf then appeared in midair, its claws standing solidly on thin air as it bit the Daodi around the neck. The area above the center of the river had suddenly become the battleground for two huge beasts, and the Daodi crashed towards the cliffside, tossing the grey wolf aside fiercely, before it spread its wings and flew into the sky. The grey wolf sank into the water, sending up a great wave. A moment later, Kita wiped his face and bobbed up, swimming towards the shore, where he looked around at his surroundings. End chapter. Post-training notice. National First Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 91. Convergence. Zhi Xiaoduo was overwhelmed by the undercurrent at the bottom of the river, while Xiang Cheng's body gradually sank. Xiang Cheng! Zhi Xiaoduo shouted. Both of them were enclosed in a bubble at the same time. Zhi Xiaoduo held Xiang Cheng tightly as they drifted downstream. Where's Huang Shan? Where have all their Yaoguai subordinates gone? Beams of light shone down through the river water. The sky was very bright now. The bubble broke, and Zhi Xiaoduo and Xiang Cheng emerged from the water. Xiang Cheng! Zhi Xiaoduo shouted anxiously. Xiang Cheng raised his hand and held it up in front of him, unable to adapt to the sudden light. Zhi Xiaoduo was relieved. He leaned against a stone, shivering from the cold. This was a desolate river bank. When he looked around, all he could see were pebbles the size of goose eggs. A cliff towered over them, and the screeching of apes echoed around them. Xiang Cheng raised his hand and touched Zhi Xiaoduo's face. Zhi Xiaoduo looked at him anxiously. Xiang Cheng's eye had been scratched by the black-winged great peng, but it wasn't bleeding. A light black scar ran through his left eye from the bone of his eyebrow to his cheekbone. Are you all right? Xiang Cheng reached out his hand and lifted up Zhi Xiaoduo's sweater. Upon seeing that his chest and abdomen had already completely healed, he was relieved. Then he laughed. How can you be laughing? Zhi Xiaoduo said, you're injured. It doesn't matter. Xiang Cheng said, let me rest for a bit. Don't sleep yet. Zhi Xiaoduo turned and looked around. It was so quiet that there was only the sound of the river, but he kept feeling like this place was a little dangerous. Come on, get up. Zhi Xiaoduo took Xiang Cheng's hand as they got up unsteadily. There was a bird singing in the air, and a bird spread its wings and flew towards the river. Great! It's Si Gui. Zhi Xiaoduo waved at it, but Si Gui squatted on a stone and did not come over, instead hopping a few times. It had a split tied to its claw. Si Gui flew into the air, circled around, and turned to the west. Zhi Xiaoduo covered his right eye, and the pupil of his left eye contracted. He saw that the mountains all around them were shining with dots of colorful lights. There was a paper talisman stuck to the cliff. There seemed to be someone in the distance, an exorcist. The water clans can't make it through. Zhi Xiaoduo said, Xiang Cheng, can you walk? Yes. Xiang Cheng coughed a few times, expelling a mouthful of water. I'll piggyback you, ba. Zhi Xiaoduo said. Xiang Cheng waved his hand to show that it wasn't necessary. He put one hand on Zhi Xiaoduo's shoulder and staggered downstream, following the river beach. Zhi Xiaoduo looked anxiously into Xiang Cheng's eyes, but Xiang Cheng only kept looking unblinkingly at him. Do you feel uncomfortable? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. Xiang Cheng shook his head. Zhi Xiaoduo saw a row of houses near the river beach, where the workers for the highway had been staying. It was nearly early spring, and the space between the two mountains was filled with fog. The residents had all gone to work, and there was a bamboo raft floating by the river. Zhi Xiaoduo let Xiang Cheng rest outside. He climbed through a window, stole some crackers, and boiled some water. When he came out, Xiang Cheng had already fallen asleep. Zhi Xiaoduo was also very sleepy. With Xiang Cheng in his arms, they leaned up against the back of the house and slept for a while. As soon as he fell asleep, Zhi Xiaoduo saw the boss snake struggling fiercely, as if it was in great pain. The surroundings in the dream were dark, and for 1 second, the boss snake would turn into Xiang Cheng, but then, in the next second, into Akalanatha. He lay on the beach and rolled around as black energy slowly eroded away the left side of Akalanatha's body. The humans in this world are all very cunning. You are a Yao, not a human. No one will ever. No. Zhi Xiaoduo roared, "Come back!" That angry shout pierced through the long night, and the lamp in Zhi Xiaoduo's hand glowed with a brilliant light. The long night was instantly dispelled, and the boss snake opened its eyes and saw Zhi Xiaoduo. This was the first time he had shouted in the dream. When the black energy that was being emitted from the boss snake's forehead met the light from Zhi Xiaoduo, it was as if it had been blown away by the wind. It returned to the snake 7 inches and gathered into a black, swollen sphere. Zhi Xiaoduo rushed forward, knelt on one knee, and hugged the boss snake's neck. The boss snake shrunk and transformed into Akalanatha, glowing with a golden light. Xiang Cheng opened his eyes painfully, as if he had experienced a fierce struggle. Zhi Xiaoduo held him tightly, and saw that the left half of his bare upper body was covered with black demonic markings. However, from the moment they embraced each other, the demonic markings faded and slowly disappeared. Xiang Cheng let out a breath and looked down at Zhi Xiaoduo in his arms. Zhi Xiaoduo woke up and looked up at Xiang Cheng. Xiang Cheng was sweating all over. He exhaled a hot breath, lowered his head, and kissed Zhi Xiaoduo's lips. "The weapons have been corrupted." Xiang Cheng replied, "The devil qi invaded my body through the weapons. It's just like my appearance that you saw in the dream. Can you withstand it?" Zhi Xiaoduo asked, "Can I help you dispel it?" "I'll try my best." Xiang Cheng replied, "When Hu Ziniang returned the weapons, he had already planned this. As soon as I used the Great Sun Wheel and the Eclipsed Moon Bow, the devil qi in them would stimulate the Mara seed in my body. You helped me temporarily suppress the erosion from the devil qi, but there is no way to eradicate it. What should we do?" Zhi Xiaoduo asked. Xiang Cheng said, "When we get the golden arrows and all the weapons are in my hands, they can form an energy flow that will purify all the devil qi, and that might even kill the Mara seed." A pangolin darted along the cliff, carrying Zhi Xiaoduo's bag in its mouth. "Great King! Empress!" The pangolin transformed into a human, handed the bag to Zhi Xiaoduo, and said, "The nearby waterways are blocked, and the exorcists have set a spell beneath the water. How did you get here?" Zhi Xiaoduo asked. "I am a national first-class protected animal." He replied, "Even if they saw me, they would not dare attack me." Zhi Xiaoduo: "The dog is looking for you on the mountain road." He added, "Huang Shan wants you guys to go ashore and walk along the land route. He will draw away the exorcists and figure out a way to meet up with you later. It's too dangerous." Zhi Xiaoduo looked up at the cliff and said, "They are all Yao binding charms. We're not in a rush." Xiang Cheng said, "Now that we are all here, go back and tell Huang Shan to sneak in and wait for us on the banks of the Fuyao River." Zhi Xiaoduo took out his cell phone from his bag. The signal was very poor, and after the GPS loaded, he said to Xiang Cheng, "We are in the Fuling district." Voices came from high above, and Xiang Cheng said, "Go back and deliver the message at once. Don't come this way again." The pangolin leaped away. Xiang Cheng had already recovered some of his strength, and he said, "Let's find more food, quickly." Xiang Cheng got the pole, rolled up his trousers, and jumped onto the bamboo raft barefoot. Zhi Xiaoduo found some instant noodles and bottles of water in the house and put them in his bag. "They should be around here. Look over there." Someone came down from up high. Zhi Xiaoduo got on the bamboo raft, and Xiang Cheng steered the bamboo pole and got them away from the river bank. The bamboo raft entered the river, turned around, and floated into the dense fog along the river. The river waters rushed forward, and the bamboo raft bumped up and down. Xiang Cheng hung the pole on the tail of the raft and walked towards Zhi Xiaoduo. He sat behind him and held him. The two of them could not help swaying as the river rose and fell. Xiang Cheng said, "Don't be afraid. I'm used to rowing in the river, and will be fine after this part." Zhi Xiaoduo worriedly touched Xiang Cheng's eyebrows and eyes. The scar was still there, and he said, "I'm afraid your body won't be able to bear it." Xiang Cheng replied, as long as I don't use any magic, I can hold it back. I was most worried about your injury, and now that it's healed, everything else is easy. Do you need to rest? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. I'm good. Xiang Cheng said, I'm in very good spirits now. It'll be fine as long as I don't use magic. Let's go, I'll take you home. Really? Zhi Xiaoduo asked doubtfully, don't hide from me anymore, I'm about to get weird from you tricking me all the time. I don't know why, Xiang Cheng said, but every time I see you in my dreams, I feel very comfortable. Is that so? Zhi Xiaoduo looked at Xiang Cheng suspiciously and thought he was just kidding with him again. Really? Xiang Cheng said, those days when I ran away and you were not around, it was very painful. But one night back in Macau, I saw you by the beach, with a lamp in your hand. Zhi Xiaoduo suddenly remembered. Is it because of the lamp? Xiang Cheng nodded and said, as soon as it shines, the heart devils immediately get squashed back down. Do you remember when we were in Beijing? The first time. I drank the wine that Chen Zhen gave me. Yes. Zhi Xiaoduo remembered that he had had a lamp in his hand that night as well. What does this mean? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. Your heart lamp. Xiang Cheng said. Do I have one, too? Zhi Xiaoduo replied, but isn't the heart lamp just for the Daipankara family? Xiang Cheng thought for a moment, shook his head, and said, I don't know. Maybe it's the power of your soul. Zhi Xiaoduo vaguely remembered that every time he was struggling and wanted to help Xiang Cheng, the lamp would appear. However, sometimes as he held it, the lamp would, for some reason, disappear. Perhaps the light in his hand represented a special meaning, the so-called light of the soul? Zhi Xiaoduo was a little confused and decided to go back to check when he had time. So, are you a solar panel then? Zhi Xiaoduo touched Xiang Cheng's face and said, you photosynthesize with a little light, and then successfully charge up and whatever. Xiang Cheng laughed. Zhi Xiaoduo and Xiang Cheng snuggled together, and the dense fog silently surrounded them. The water vapor, the sound of the river waves, and the early morning sun shone down from the zenith. Turn on the GPS and see where we are. The signal is very bad. Zhi Xiaoduo waited for the map to open and kept waiting for a long time. Xiang Cheng kissed his ear, and the bamboo raft drifted across the most dangerous section of the river and into the open waters. There were green mountains on both banks, and it was early spring, so everything had sprouted with new growth. Moss covered the cliff, and at the top of 1,000 Zhangstone mountain, birds flew back and forth. The fog was all around them, and the waters of the river were green with spring. It looked just like a paradise on earth. Zhi Xiaoduo turned around to look at everything and couldn't help marveling at the beautiful scenery. Xiang Cheng got up and asked, do you like this place? It's so beautiful. Zhi Xiaoduo exclaimed, holding up the camera to take photos. Even without any signal, the cell phone could still be used for this. They followed the river down from the Three Gorges scenic region, far away from the exorcists who were scouting along the banks. Xiang Cheng was very familiar with this area, and after moving the bamboo pole a bit, had them drift into a cave along the narrow tributary. Zhi Xiaoduo lit the oil lamp hanging from the bow of the boat with a lighter. In the light, the handsome ferryman stood at the stern of the boat, and led him through the all-embracing, divinely miraculous cave. Doesn't that look like our dog? Xiang Cheng motioned for him to look. The flowing water gradually slowed down, and Zhi Xiaoduo laughed. As soon as the lowest stalactite reached their heads, Xiang Cheng snapped his fingers and said, one cigarette please. How did you know I have them? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. Since you stole a lighter, Xiang Cheng laughed and said, you wouldn't miss out on the cigarettes. Xiang Cheng lit a cigarette, walked through the cave with Zhi Xiaoduo, and asked, how much did you give them? 600. When Zhi Xiaoduo had left, he had also left some money in the hut. At the end of the cave, everything opened up again. The mountains extended into the distance, and water bubbled. It was an enchanting scene of spring. The bamboo raft rushed into a valley full of peach blossoms. Zhi Xiaoduo's eyes were dazzled. This was a tributary route that had never been opened up. Xiang Cheng said, I have never been here before either. Zhi Xiaoduo said, there is no signal. What is this place? It's so beautiful. A valley where peach blossoms were blooming reminded him of Tao Yuanming's peach blossom spring. Xiang Cheng said, there are many places like this in the Three Gorges. When things are over, we can come here to play whenever we want to. It would be nice to live here. Zhi Xiaoduo said. You can't live here for long. Xiang Cheng replied, like my home in Fengdu, it's not convenient to even go buy snacks in the village. The river turned fast again, and it ran out of the valley and joined the main road. In front of them was a vast river which stretched in front of them like an ocean. Water splashed a bit ahead of them, and the bamboo raft accelerated. There were many fish around, and the bamboo raft bobbed along with them as it rode the wind and waves. Here comes reinforcements. Xiang Cheng said. A wolf howled in the distance. They looked at the bank at the same time, and there was a plop sound as something entered the water. It paddled over to them doggy style, and when it got close, the wet wolfhound climbed onto the bamboo raft and shook itself off from head to tail. Xiang Cheng and Zhi Xiaoduo shouted at the same time as they were drenched by Lang Dog. Lang Dog rushed up to lick Zhi Xiaoduo, only to be hit by a bottle of mineral water that Xiang Cheng threw. They've already arrived. Lang Dog returned to human form and said happily. Si Gui circled above and then stopped at the front of the bamboo raft. Control yourself a bit. Xiang Cheng said coldly. Lang Dog was completely lying on Zhi Xiaoduo's body, and he was pressing him down onto the bamboo raft and licking him. Zhi Xiaoduo immediately said, transform into a dog, not in your human form. So, Lang Dog contracted his body and became a big dog, lying on Zhi Xiaoduo's body. Zhi Xiaoduo pushed his head away and let him roll to the side. If a dog and a person did the same thing, it would be rude as a person, but as a dog, Xiang Cheng could just barely accept it. Xiang Cheng sat at the tail of the bamboo raft, while Zhi Xiaoduo leaned lazily in his arms, against his chest. He yawned, and put his foot on Lang Dog's back. At this speed, we can reach the Fuyao River before dark. Xiang Cheng said. Zhi Xiaoduo had no idea at all where they were, so he could only follow Xiang Cheng. In the evening, the sky was full of burning clouds. They had somehow already been traveling on the river for a whole day. At dusk, the mountains were hidden under the clouds, as if a layer of flame were spread upon them. Get off! Xiang Cheng said. Zhi Xiaoduo was both sweaty and dirty. They got into the off-road vehicle parked on the bank and finally got some signal when they left the reservoir area. After turning on the GPS, he found that they were on the bank of the Fuyao River. Xiang Cheng said, is everyone here? Huang Shan turned his head and replied, Boss, Xian Hezi is injured and resting in the hotel. After you left along the river, there was a bit of an accident. Huang Shan explained the situation, and Zhi Xiaoduo was stunned. Xiang Cheng frowned deeply, and Zhi Xiaoduo realized that even more trouble was coming. That's Dinghai. Zhi Xiaoduo said. Xiang Cheng, his presence was expected. Zhi Xiaoduo said, the sacred land has already been chasing us, but the blood devil should not. Gagantoru Rakita called your cell phone and contacted us. Huang Shan said, he has some news and wants to talk with you in person. Fengli will arrive in Fengdu this morning at the latest. Has Fengli also come? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. Huang Shan let out an N and said, we may be delayed for a day in Wolong. Jianwen is in our hands, but we can't get him to say anything. Xiang Cheng held Zhi Xiaoduo's hand, thought for a moment, and said, tell Fengli not to enter Fengdu, but to come directly to the hotel. I have something to tell him. It was already 8 o'clock at night when they arrived at the hotel. Huang Shan stopped in front of a hot spring hotel in Furong town. The first thing that Zhi Ziaduo wanted to do wasn't to see Kita, but to go change his clothes and take a bath. Xiang Cheng took off his clothes while saying to Huang Shan, "Let them wait. We'll talk to them at dinner." Xiang Cheng talked with Huang Shan for a bit, then pulled the sliding door shut. Zhi Ziaduo had already sunk his whole body in the hot spring, sighing. After leaving Beijing for so many days, today was the happiest day. "Is Xian Hezi seriously injured?" Zhi Ziaduo asked. "Nothing will happen, right?" Xiang Cheng replied, "Don't mind him, he can't die. It's good that he got hurt, otherwise he's too noisy." Zhi Ziaduo, "No, no. Don't touch it." Xiang Cheng pulled Zhi Ziaduo into his arms, pressed him against the wooden planks, and put his leg between Zhi Ziaduo's legs. Zhi Ziaduo said, "Should I use my hand on you?" The hot spring water made their skin moist and smooth, and the smell of sulfur added to the excitement. The warm water made Zhi Ziaduo relax and feel good. "Xiang Cheng," said Xian Hezi angrily from the other end of the hot spring fence, "I can hear you." "Xiang Cheng." Zhi Ziaduo. "It's all right, it's all right." Kita comforted him, "Don't be angry, great immortal Xiang's attitude is just like that." Zhi Ziaduo. "Are you all over there?" said Zhi Ziaduo. N. Chao Ben said, "There's also me, we are soaking in Director Kita's hot spring." "That's great." Zhi Ziaduo said, "Everyone's alright ba." Kita shouted, "Ha ha ha, classmate Ziaduo. I haven't seen you for so long. Won't you come over and give me a hug?" Zhi Ziaduo opened the gate, and Kita rushed over and rubbed Zhi Ziaduo's forehead fiercely. 5 people were soaking in the pool. Xian Hezi's shoulder and thigh had been pierced by shrapnel, so the back of his shoulder was bare. Zhi Ziaduo carefully changed his dressing. Kita had one foot propped on Xiang Cheng's knee, with his chest and arms out of the water. He leaned against the edge of the pool, his face flushed with steam. Chao Ben's hair was short and wet, looking just like a hedgehog. He had a mustache in the shape of a character, and he pillowed himself against the edge of the pool and looked at the stars. The attendant brought over iced drinks. Zhi Ziaduo popped open a soda can and handed it to Xiang Cheng while listening to their conversation. "Kita, after you guys left, Beijing really exploded, haha." Zhi Ziaduo, "You actually have chest hair." "A little bit." Kita said, "Don't you think it's very sexy?" As he said this, he flexed his chest a bit. "Xiang Cheng." Chao Ben smartly switched the topic and asked, "Where is Chen Zhen?" After being punished and demoted, he is still the head of the organizational department, and also the chief of staff. Kita said, "The old Buddha didn't manage to grab any evidence that he had helped you, since all the surveillance videos were deleted. They said that you guys stole the hourglass, and that Xiang Cheng's identity was a disguise, all of which had nothing to do with him. However, regarding the news about the golden arrows, how did you guys determine that the last weapon was on Mount Wu?" "I'm not sure." Zhi Ziaduo said, "I'm completely lost in the fog." Xian Hezi said, "My Shishu was detained by Jian Wen." Jian Wen asked him to divine the whereabouts of the golden arrows. "Where is he?" Xiang Cheng asked. "He's in the hotel." Xian Hezi replied. Xiang Cheng put his arm around Zhi Ziaduo's waist and sat in the hot spring pool. Zhi Ziaduo leaned on Xiang Cheng's shoulder, ate some ice cream and asked, "How is Xiao Lang?" "He doesn't have anything to do." Kita said, "He asked me to bring you a book, I'll give it to you later. I went back to Beijing, then went to Bashu again. I almost caught that damn Dinghai but I was a little late. This Chao thing is useless, hey. I tried my best." Chao Ben said, "I had to hunt down Dinghai and also protect Ziaduo and Xiang Cheng. I really can't spare a hand. I thought that with Xian Hezi here. What are you saying, what are you saying? Xian Hezi said angrily, I was almost killed by a grenade. Shut up, you guys. Zhi Xiaoduo angrily said, you argue all the time, do you still have to quarrel in the hot spring? Everyone just had to quiet down. Anyway, that's the way it is. Kita said, the Exorcist Committee sent out a mission for the Golden Arrows, mobilizing all the first-class exorcists to be a mountain to find the whereabouts of your family's magic weapon. Did Chen Zhen send that out? Xiang Cheng asked. I don't know. Kita replied, Teacher Zhou probably sent it out. They think that the Akila's bloodline has something to do with Mara. Zhi Xiaoduo said, but even if they find the golden arrows, only Xiang Cheng can use them, right? Otherwise, how can the Exorcist Committee take a Xiang family heirloom and use it? You think too simply, young man. Kita said to Zhi Xiaoduo, you guys have performed a magic trick right in front of her nose and have taken away the sword of wisdom, the demon subduing rod, and the Yao binding rope, so how much face does she have left? Even if they return the golden arrows to Xiang Cheng, what will she do if the two of you can't stop the people from Mara's side and the weapons get snatched away instead? Are they acting like I'm dead? Xiang Cheng asked. Kita shrugged and said, in short, her orders are, first, find the golden arrows and bring them back. Second, if they catch you, to also bring you back. Then what is Jianwen doing? Xiang Cheng asked. Jianwen means to find the golden arrows and kill you at the same time. Kita replied, his task is complete as long as he's sure you're dead. When you are dead, the weapons will come out of your soul and attach to the magic weapons you used before you died. After you find the golden arrows, the weapons will be complete and returned to the Ministry of National Security. As for what to do later, that's not his business. If I die, my snake Han will be recalled to the sacred land. Xiang Cheng replied, Mara will also complete its reincarnation. Very reasonable. Kita said, but I guess the old Buddha knows that, while Jianwen doesn't. Jianwen doesn't recognize the orders of the Exorcist Committee, so it's useless to explain it to him. Even if he kills you and the world is destroyed, the task he received was to kill you, so he has to kill you first before seeing what happens. Who is behind Jianwen? Xiang Cheng frowned deeply. All four men were silent, and no one spoke. Forget it. Xiang Cheng summarized, when soldiers come, block them, and when the water rises, bank the earth. Zhi Xiaoduo was dizzy from soaking for so long and kept tilting to the side. Xiang Cheng asked, do you want to go back to rest? What about you? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. I'm going to think things over, Xiang Cheng replied. Kita had also been soaking for a long time, so he took Zhi Xiaoduo out and put him in a bathrobe. For the first time, Zhi Xiaoduo was now up front with Kita, and he always felt that it was strange. In fact, Kita had a nice body, just like that of a foreigner. He was one size bigger than Xiang Cheng, and his thing was also big. Zhi Xiaoduo wrapped himself in a bathrobe and thought that Kita was also a beefcake. By the way, do me a favor. Kita put on his bathrobe, fastened the belt, and said, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. Xian Hezi had also climbed up, put on his bathrobe, followed them, and said, can you invite me to have a drink too? Kita took Zhi Xiaoduo's shoulder, and said to Xian Hezi, as long as you stay quiet the whole time, you can drink as you like. Xian Hezi stopped talking immediately. That Fengli. Kita said, Xiang Cheng's subordinate, is he married? Does he have a Yaoguai lover? Xian Hezi, director, the Exorcist Committee has a written regulation that exorcists cannot fall in love with Yaoguai. Kita, you want to die? Have I asked for your opinion? Isn't your Shifu a Yaoguai? What's wrong with falling in love with a Yaoguai law? Zhi Xiaoduo said, that's right. They're a handsome match and make a perfect couple. Who are you to oppose it? Xian Hezi stopped talking. After they left, Xiao Bin and Xiang Cheng sat on one side of the pool, drinking cold beer. If you want to say something, now's the time. Xiang Cheng said. The special task force, Xiao Bin said, there must still be someone behind it, and no one knows who this person is. However, it is certain that this person must have worked or is working in the Exorcist Committee. It is impossible for people in the National Security Bureau to know these secrets. Chen Zhen is trying to find a way to access the service personnel and file reports of the previous special task force. Chen Zhen suspects that the other party is the Blood Devil. The Blood Devil may have a special way to control the upper level of the National Security Bureau to command Jian Wen's actions. However, I don't think so. The other party knows all our movements. Xiao Bin said, Qi Wei asked me not to ask anyone, because he is afraid that this person is one of the senior members of the Exorcist Committee. This person doesn't show their face, nor do they need to. It's just like Yanfei, where Wang Lei was just one of his pawns. This person may not even be in Beijing, but they must know all of our progress. Everything we do. Xiao Bin said to Xiang Cheng, no matter what you guys do, the other party knows. I was also surprised at first. Xiang Cheng casually played with the soda can. How come when Xiaoduo and I have just set out from Beijing, someone arrived in Chongqing so soon? It's as if they specially came to wait for us. At first, I thought that what Zhou Mokuo said in Chen Zhen's office was to lead us back to Chongqing, and then he set a trap there to catch me. But the goal of the other party is obviously to find the golden arrows first. Xiang Cheng added, it is highly likely that the person behind Jian Wen may have been inspired by our search for the weapons. And this person, Xiang Cheng said, is Yanfei's superior, Jinghao's superior, and Wang Lei's superior. They are also the person who released the lightning out over the ocean. He is the main person behind all this. Yes. Xiao Bin replied, between the old Buddha, Jiao Yan, and Zhou Mokuo, who do you think it is? Xiang Cheng didn't answer. He looked at the soda can in his hand and squeezed it flat. I can't determine it at the moment. Xiang Cheng said, but as long as it strikes again, I can sense where it is coming from. End chapter.